Welcome back to Main Station. Well, in this video, I'll be going over precious metals, gold, silver, and the GDX, our gold miners ETF. So, to start with gold, of course. Well, interesting, quite bullish. This movement, I think it happened the day after or 2 days after I made my latest video on precious metals. So, quite funny. As you can see, as I mentioned in my latest video, well, we broke down and we basically broke this equilibrium which we had right here, bearish, and formed a triple bottom actually on these two candles with this low, basically a triple bottom. And well, this had been an indication that we see further upside. Well, I think no one could have predicted this bullish candle right here. I think it was over like 2% on gold. I don't know. If you measure it, yeah, almost 2%, 1.9%. So quite exciting. I didn't trade any of this move yet, since it has been too extended in my opinion, and we are reaching some sort of resistance on in this area of 13.26, but I think this looks like we want to reach back up to our highs right here between 30.50 and 13.70. So most likely we will reach back up to these highs and retest them. So this looks nice and this looks bullish. So as you can see, our consolidations are getting shorter and shorter. So we might enter some sort of parabolic movement and would look for further retrace and further downside in the short term. But until then, this looks bullish, and I think a trade on maybe a short-term rebound, or if we just see a bit of consolidation right here for the next week and a few days, then you can enter, of course, a trade if we go above 13.26 of this candle. And well, on the RSI you can see we are quite extended and we are forming maybe a little bit of divergence, so you want to be a bit cautious, and I wouldn't like to enter a trade now. If we go to the weekly, then I'm looking at the TD sequential for in some cases. So as you can see, we are now acting on a 9 on a weekly, so this should be respected. And usually the TD sequential basically indicates a reversal or some sort of consolidation, and maybe just some sort of maybe trend change. But you want to be cautious if we act on a 9 and a 1. So as you can see, this is now a 9, and this has been acting very nicely in this bull movement. So as you can see, this is now a call, and this would be a setup end, as you can see right here. And well, this would indicate that you want to be cautious on any bullish trades at this time. So yeah, I won't enter one, but this bull move in gold looks very nicely in general. So if we see a retrace, then where would we go? Well, in my opinion, if we just pull up the Fibonacci real quick, then usually we would move back down to the 0.382 mark in bullish cases, and in a bit less bullish cases to the 0.5. But I think most likely for now the area of 1300 will be quite heavy support, since we broke it with nice trading volume with this candle basically right here. And you can see on a daily we are on a 6 in this bull move. So we are not too extended on the daily, but since we are since the weekly usually should be respected a bit more. So the larger the time frame, the more important it gets. So you want to be cautious at any case. And yeah, well, I think a retrace to the 0.238 is most likely, and so it would be now a cluster of support in this area, but also to the a retrace to the 0.382 is also likely. And if we compare this to this right here, and this bear run, yeah, it's not too important, so just forget it about this. But also this retest of this trend line right here tells me that this would be an area of support for any pullback on the weekly. So you can enter a trade around like 1300 if you want to trade this bullish, and I actually would, since this looks nice. And if we go to the GDX real quick, this is the gold miners ETF, the Venex gold miners ETF, and you can see we broke a very important trend line, which has been important resistance for many years. So the first touch of it was back in 2011. So, and we can also draw it maybe like this. So, well, now we broke it very nicely on a weekly. With I think I mentioned this in some video, I don't know. I think I mentioned it shortly in my US MJ video, since I had this ticker in my list, or in my ticker list of my US MJ stocks. Well, you can see we had this descending triangle, and it broke. But since this acted as nice support right here around $17, we've seen a very nice rebound, and are now or now have broken our important trend line since some sort of consolidation below it. And this is important. We are now reaching back up to our 200 week moving average, and are touching it. And since this is on a weekly a green 2 trading up above a green 1, well, this would be an indication that this 200 week EMA will get broke, or will be broken quite soon. And on the daily, I think we are actually this is bullish at any point actually. So gold looks very nice, and of course also the ETFs and so forth on gold. So if you want to enter any trades, well, I think the precious metal stocks and area in general is looking quite nice and quite bullish. And if we just pull up silver, well, quite similar to gold, just that we pulled back a bit sharper on this move. And if I pull up the Fibonacci, then, well, it's not telling us too much. Yeah, it's not telling us too much. So and also on the TD, I didn't look at it at the time, but we formed a very nice 9 right here, and not a 9 on the bottom, but still you can see this one acted quite nice. And we had a green 1, a green 2 trading above green 1, so this was bullish and still is. We are seeing a little bit of divergence, actually quite still respectable divergence on the daily. You can see I mentioned this on the 24th. Well, right here yeah, just bit above, just bit at like 1 day or 2 days before this bull move, and I didn't think that we would actually find support right here, but I didn't look at the 200 EMA I think at that point, but you can see it acted as nice support, and I should have looked at it at that time, but we are now we will see soon a bull cross of the 200 and the 50 day on silver, so this looks quite bullish in most cases. And also on the weekly on silver we are at a 9, so also here you want to be cautious on short-term bullish trades, but since we reached now back into this descending triangle, this looks quite a lot like GDX, just that our trading range looks a bit sharper right here, and we are actually quite above our line of support and resistance on GDX. So GDX is more bullish than any of it, but as you can see, we had more points of resistance and support on gold on silver than on GDX, but still we basically formed a double bottom. And if we look at it on the monthly, then yeah, we had a setup end just right here, and I think it was a 9. Yeah, we had a 9 on the bottom, basically the bottom on the TD sequential on silver. So looking bullish, but yeah, my next target would be then $21 on silver if this is bullish. But if this is bearish, then we can see still heavy resistance just around in this area, and basically around our 50-day or 50-month moving average. So you want to look at the monthly in most cases, but still in general looking quite bullish, and silver is a bit more volatile than gold. Our bull move right here, I think it was above 2%. If I measure it, yeah, above 3% actually. So almost the double of our gold move on this 1 day. So I'm quite bullish. Also, there had been fundamental news for this pump. I forgot which they were, but still looking quite bullish in general. And well, the GDX ETF also looks quite bullish, so you can enter a trade on this quite soon, in my opinion. Maybe if we reach back above these highs, but I'm looking for daily consolidation of this move, since we are quite extended on the RSI, and just have been bullish for a few trading days now, and have seen some nice movement. But on GDX, you basically want to enter if we trade above our 200 week moving average. Then this would be quite nice, and of course we reached above it on this move, but even then we had nice gains, and we still could have acted on any resistance, but since we are above our trend line, well, it looks bullish, and this is a green 2 trading above green 1, so also this would be an indication. And well, our ADX line has been trending for quite a while, so maybe we can look for a trend change and maybe see it creep up. You can see it rounded out on this bottom, so maybe if we see like two or three green weeks in February, and just see February basically bullish, then we can look for our ADX to climb up and start trending again, and maybe create a bull trend. So would be very nice in my opinion. Yeah, this has been gold, silver, and GDX, so an ETF on gold, and maybe I'll look for some sort of ETF on silver. I don't know if there is one, but most likely there is. Haven't tested it or haven't looked at it yet, so I'll be including the TD sequential, I think, sometime, or just in some cases where it looks bullish. Of course, no indicator always is exact or on point, so you want to be looking at the multiple indicators and patterns and basically trend lines and so forth for any real indication for trend move or for trend change, price movements and so forth. So yeah, basically bullish. And what is interesting, I wanted to mention this too, is well, this is the Euro USD, but I'm just pulling up USD Euro. Well, I wanted to mention this too. If you look at it on the weekly, well, we basically just extend this a little bit. We basically are in this prolonged since 2008 ascending channel, and we're now in this descending channel, in an ascending channel. So I would look for some sort of resistance, maybe around 0.9. But in a short term, the dollar compared to euro actually looks quite bullish. If this doesn't hold up, this support right here, and I drew this, I don't know when I drew this, but it looks quite nice. But anyway, if this doesn't act as support, then maybe we could actually see it retest this area and around like $0.83 or cents. Let's just use a horizontal trend line around this area. See test right here maybe. In late 2000. 2000. So well, there's still 220.